They took their 5-game win streak on the road to face the Colts, and Colts running back Marlon Mack had a day. Rushed for a career-high 139 yards and 2 touchdowns. Dak and the Cowboys offense had a rough one. Couldn't get anything going, like literally bagels. Dallas shut out for the first time since 2003. Back when Bill Parcells was the coach. Colts win 23-0. Here's what Dak Prescott had to say after the game.
We can't win like that. Hurting ourselves, simple as that. Playing behind the chains, penalties, sacks, whatever it may be, incompletions. We just hurt ourselves from the beginning all the way to the end, and we never really gave ourselves a chance.
All right, Dak said it pretty well, but CC, what did the loss to the Colts say about this Cowboys team?
To me, it doesn't really send a message, because if you look at where they've been the last 5 weeks, if you said, okay, in the 6 weeks span, they were going to go 5-1, they're going to lose one of those games, it's been like, okay, all right. So a lot of times people overreact because it's one loss, but it's just one loss. And I just believe that the energy they had, Nick pointed out last week, he thought that this would be a game that they could be flat. I didn't think they could be flat because it's a very, very young team. So it was a team that was a little bit flat on energy, but it's also a Colts team through their head coach who were very, very prepared. Frank Wright, his last few years, he's been in Philadelphia. Of those things played out, that defensive performance was just as good as the one Dallas put on New Orleans several weeks ago that really caught the national attention. So great performance by the Colts, out physical on the Dallas Cowboys.
And people are going to focus on the 0 points scored, obviously, and I'll get to that in a second. But what the Colts offense was able to do against the Cowboys defense, as far as Luck was not sacked once. He was only hit 3 times the entire game. Marlon Mack rushed for 134 yards. Like, the Colts front really dominated the Cowboys front in this game in a way that you see this, the Colts win a blowout fashion, you think, oh, Luck must have lit them up. Luck was fine. Luck made a few really big plays on 3rd down, but it was more that Luck was upright the whole game, and they couldn't stop Marlon Mack. I was worried about the Cowboys went Thanksgiving Day, super amped for that game, followed by the next week, their Thursday night football against the Saints, followed by a game that could essentially wrap up the division for them, all at home, all on either national TV or the big window on Fox. Now they're on the road. It's a noon or a 1 p.m. start, noon in Indy. All those things, a desperate Colts team working against them. But see, you brought up something before the show, which is you thought this game could have gone differently if the opening couple possessions go a little bit differently. The Cowboys have a field goal blocked. Colts then drive down for a touchdown. Then it's only 7-0. We're in the first quarter, and the Cowboys have a 4th and I'll call it 1.5 at the 3 or 4 yard line, and they go for it. You felt differently about that than the going for it in overtime, 4th and a yard, where if you don't go for it there, you potentially will never get the ball back.
Yeah, I respect the NFL coaches being more aggressive this year, but you have to play each game out totally different. They had driven the ball over 10 plays that first drive, field goal block. Driven 10 plays again. This was not like a half inch. This was 1.5 yards. This was substantial bill to get. I kicked the field goal because it's the right football play to make the game 7-3. You still have some type of momentum. You get this big stop on 4th down, then the Colts were able to take that momentum, and the Cowboys were never able to capitalize off of that. So to me, you can't always go for it and just say, hey, regardless of the feel of the game, I'm going to go for it. No, sometimes you need to go do the right football play and settle and get those 3 points so that you have the momentum that offense had created in those first 2 drives with over 20 plays, no points to show for it.
I just think it's critical to understand that if you are someone that says you should go for it on every 4th down, or someone that says anytime you go for it on 4th down, unless you're trailing in the 4th quarter, there are no absolutes in this. And the feel of the game is definitely an important part of it. And the situation of, if I were right that the team was potentially going to be a little flat, how deflating will it be if you have one long drive down the field? You get no points because a field goal gets blocked. You have another long drive down the field. You get no points because you get stuffed. Like, could that one play flip the game against you, as opposed to kicking the field goal isn't going to win you the game, but it also isn't going to flip the game against you. So I typically do like going for it when you're within, right near the goal line, because you set the other team up in such bad position even if you don't get it.
These coaches have no rhyme or reason. You cannot go into these games saying, I'm going to go for it regardless. You have to get a feel for your team and a feel for the game, because momentum is at stake. All these situations, you can't, every time I'm in the red zone, I'm going to go for it. Well, that's idiotic. And that's not the best. Dallas in a one-back set going against their front in a goal line stand, that wasn't a good play to run.
Right.
So there are obvious situations where the coaches should go for the points compared to everyone just being ultra aggressive all the time.
Before we break, we have to talk about what the Colts are doing, because they've been playing some really good ball lately.
1-5 to now they're sitting there at 8-6, as alive as you can be. The aberration of the year, it almost looks like, is a couple weeks ago getting shut out by the Jacksonville Jaguars. But since losing to the Jags 6-0, they beat a red-hot Texans team who you mentioned, C, had won 9 in a row up to that point, was trying to clinch the division. And now they beat a red-hot Cowboys team in dominating fashion. The Colts right now are still on the outside looking into the playoffs. They need some help. They need Baltimore to trip up. They need to keep winning. But what is definitive is Andrew Luck is back. They have built this team totally differently than in the past. That Quentin Nelson kid is awesome, but he's not the only awesome offensive lineman. And Darius Leonard, their rookie second-round pick, who leads the NFL, not rookies, leads the NFL in tackles, has another 7 sacks to go along with it. He has added a level of physicality to the defense that it didn't seem like the Cowboys were able to handle yesterday, as Dak was under constant assault yesterday.
Yeah, there were 10 100-yard rushers in week number 15. And the coach got an understanding that, man, they were 8-2, those 100-yard rushers. They got a physicality to them that they never have had with Andrew Luck or with Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
So how they built this team is totally different. They still need another draft, another free agency year, and then this team right here is ready for prime time. It's great to see Andrew Luck back and for them to dominate with them without him having one of those Hall of Fame performances.
Exactly.
So good news in Indy.
All right, let's take a break. Coming up, talk some Bears. Can Khalil Mack carry the Chicago team to the Super Bowl next on First Things First?
Maybe Clumsy can go back and root for his hometown team instead of the Eagles.
Wow.
Maybe. I mean, they're available.